Nicole Robbins earned her Master's of Spiritual Psychology with an emphasis in consciousness, health, and healing from the University of Santa Monica. Shortly after that, she found a home at the Center of Spiritual Living, Granada Hills, where she became a staff minister in the fall of 2020 and serves on the board of trustees. Nicole continues to expand her spirituality. She is inspired to enjoy the preciousness of life based on her extensive personal experiences with death and the tragic aftermath of suicide. She completed the Sacred Art of Living and Dying program. She volunteers for the Freedom to Choose project, which runs workshops for incarcerated individuals, assisting them with self-forgiveness, releasing judgment, and positive communication skills. Reverend Nicole enjoys teaching classes at the center. She runs a very successful tennis academy, and in her free time, she enjoys working out, skiing, and martial arts. Reverend Nicole has been with us in person and also joined us for our Zoom service online. It is a pleasure to have her back with us today. Please join me in welcoming Reverend Nicole.
Thomas. Thank you, everyone, for inviting me back to your center, and thank you, Chris, for completing my talk. Talk is over, so. I guess it would help me. As I was saying, oh, there we go. There's sound, let there be sound. Oh, too loud. So, what would you do if you were brave? Thank you, Chris. That is a great intro into my talk today. The talk is about creativity. And when I think about creativity, it's the April global theme for our centers. And today we're talking about saying yes to the yes. What does that mean? If I was brave and I said yes to that little soul's desire, what would that look like? What does that mean to step into our courage, to step into our bravery, to be creative? Now, when I think of creativity, I love Brandy because she's always so colorful, and I think, wow, Brandy is so creative. And then I think of arts and dancing and music and singing, and your choir was beautiful, and I love that song, and you would not catch me if you're singing. Because I don't feel I'm that creative. But we are creative in everyday life. I'm a creative tennis coach. I'm a creative speaker. I love to color. Give me lines and I can color in the line. That's where my creativity comes from. Martial arts or just being with friends. Everyday living, everyday creativity. That's what I want to talk to you about today, is everyday creativity. What is stopping us from living our best life now? Being creative with what we're doing here and now. So last month I spoke to you about love, and when Ernest Holmes says, when life created us, it gave us two great endowments of God. The two highest gifts of heaven, love and creativity. And we talk about law and love, where law makes it happen. Law shows us the way and love makes it happen. He goes on to say that love is that we may have confidence in life, a sense of security, and peace and joy in living creativity so that we can really live as persons and express ourselves individually. Life is done well by us. So God was so impressed with themselves that he made us to live in his spirit, to live in his energy. And so as we go through life and we get not so brave, we really need to tap into that God inside of us. I was having a moment when I was writing this the other day, laughing that God is up there saying, this light isn't that good. Those animals are not that good. Oh my gosh, look at that galaxy, the Andromeda galaxy over there. That is so much better than my Milky Way galaxy. Can you just imagine God doubting themselves? Do we ever go to that moment of doubt where I'm not good enough, I'm not big enough? That's where we step into our bravery, step into our courage, step into our godness, step into who we really are. And Ernest also says, I think we exist because God exists, because there is an irresistible urge in the being of God to express themselves. We are one with the results of that urge. We exist in that divine feeling, fire, imagination, and creativity shall be experienced through us. That's who we are. It's our Godness, our God nature. So I want you to take a moment, and I want you to just go within, go into your heart, and just, if you want to close your eyes, you can do that. How does your life look? How does it feel? How does it taste? Are you where you want to be? Is your health, your relationship, your career, is it going the way you want it to go? So as you feel that sensation, are there changes you feel you need to make? Ernest says, our creative processes are divine right. We are in the laboratory of the divine, and then we shall create. So if we're in our relationships, I have a friend, she's online dating, and she keeps telling me, all these men, they're just losers. Every guy I see online, they're losers. Well, I'm online dating too, and I'm having a great experience. All the guys I meet, well, not all, most of them, let me correct that. Most of them are really nice. I've met some really great guys online. Because what happens? You tell the law it's no good, and what does the law say? Yes. You tell the law I'm unhealthy, I don't feel well, what does the law say? Yes. You tell the law, oh, I worked so hard, and what does the law say? Yes. Or my favorite is, as I'm getting older, my body hurts. It's just an age thing. I guess when you get older, your body falls apart. What does the law say? Yes. So I'm working on that one. I realize that I know that a lot of us have, in the past, we have our genetics. Because my mom was overweight, I'm overweight. Because my favorite's my dad. My dad, every male in my dad's family died at 69. My dad was certain he was going to die at 69. And on his 70th birthday, my male cousins went, whew. Because my dad was the first man in my family to actually live to 70. He actually passed away, 3 or 4 years ago at 83. So, hi, Dad. My dad was so creative, actually, thinking his birthday would have been in March, just a couple weeks, last week. And my dad was so creative, but I didn't realize how creative he was because in my mind, he wasn't that spiritual. He just hung out in nature all the time and was skiing. Well, he used to backpack and ski all the time, and in my younger self, I'm like, he just plays all the time. But really, my dad was super creative and super spiritual, but it was a different spirituality from what I deemed appropriate. Now I'm like, wow, Dad, you had it right. You really did have it right. So these are the things that we need to work on as we're in our everyday spirituality. We really need to focus on that fun. And I remember you were reading your promises, and fun was part of it. And then also in your opening affirmation, I believe that all thought is creative, and how I choose to think creates my personal experience. And that is such a really huge thing, is how we think. And in your song, thinking is the key. Thoughts are things. It's really what we put into the universe and how we want it to be. So it's really up to us to create our reality. Now, how are we going to do that when we get stuck in that little spiral? What's going to pull us out? Well, this is where those classes come in. I want to give a shout out to Frank's class because my senior minister, Reverend Michael McMorrow, is the one who actually wrote that book. So I highly recommend it. So being involved in spiritual community, getting out, talking to like-minded people to help lift up our energy, to help raise our vibration. There's meditation. I go into a quiet place. Listen to that small voice. What's that small voice saying inside of us? Like, we know we have all the answers inside of us, but sometimes we just don't want to listen to them. We're like, no, I'm not good enough to do that. Every time I get up here to speak, I'm like, am I good enough? Well, of course I'm good enough. But every time I come up here, there's the little butterflies and the little nervousness, like, what if I don't remember what I'm supposed to say, or what if I just totally flub it? But as I've gotten up here more, I'm like, no, they're going to hear what I'm going to hear, because I asked God to speak through me. So I go, God, if I forget anything, I want you to tell them what I want you to tell them what you want them to hear, and what they need to hear at this moment. And so I realized that even though someone looks like the perfect minister, or someone's wearing like t-shirts and on the tennis court, it's the person who you need to hear at the right moment. And my question is, are you listening for that small voice? Because it's the words of wisdom come in small voices. I was having a career challenge at the time, and actually this is really good for me to share the story again, because I'm at another growing point in my career. And I was driving to work, and I heard this voice say, well, you can always leave here. And I was at the stoplight at Victory and Balboa, and I'm sure that's over in Encino in Los Angeles. And I remember the moment this voice said, well, you can always go back. And I was looking around in my car, like, who's talking to me? Because it was such a loud voice. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I can go back. Well, you can go back to the other place where you taught tennis before. And I'm like, are you crazy? I left there. I couldn't stand it there. I was very unhappy there. Well, I was very unhappy there, and I went to a new place because I figured I'd be much happier over there, because, that's a different place. But guess what? Until you heal something, it's going to follow you. And so when we go to a new place, our stuff comes with us. So I had to go back. I had to heal it. And actually, I was at that other place for 9 months. I call it the rebirthing of myself, where I went and I rebirthed myself, and I was able to go back to my former location. And as this voice was telling me, I was arguing with the voice in my heart. What do you mean I can go back? I can't go back. Yes, you can go back. And so I'm sure if someone was sitting next to me at the car, they thought I was in a serious conversation with someone on Bluetooth, because I was going, what do you mean? What do you mean I can go back? And sure enough, I went back, and everything went up to a grander scale. And that was about 5, 6, 7 years ago. And now I'm in another thing where I'm looking for a different opportunity, because where I'm coaching tennis, they say it's closing down in December. And part of me is like looking at the black and white of this question. But part of being creative is not looking at the black and white, it's going to the third option. Because I'm so busy looking at, well, I can leave, I can do this, I can do that. But I need to be open to that third option, and not just so focusing on what I think should happen. And this is where we go into meditation, and we sit quietly and be still. I really want to get the words "be still" tattooed on my wrist, but I'm too afraid to get a tattoo. Just because I just think, be still and know that I am. Well, if I know that I am, I don't have to really worry about it. So it's going to that quiet place and really being still and really listening to that seed. There's a seed inside all of us. Does an acorn seed know that it's going to grow up to be this beautiful oak tree? It's just that moment that we have the seed within us, and that sometimes we go to, like, oh, I can't do it. We have these limiting beliefs that what happens if this happens? What happens if that happens? So we start talking ourselves out of this belief. And I know I am so guilty of it. And I found a beautiful quote from Thich Nhat Hanh. Fear keeps us focused on the past or worried about the future. If we can acknowledge our fear, we can realize that right now we are okay. Right now, we are still alive, and our bodies are working marvelously. Our eyes can still see the beautiful sky. Our ears can still hear the voices of those whom we love. So we can either listen, we can either create consciously or unconsciously. So we can tell ourselves things that we can't do and unconsciously create exactly what we can't do. Or we can create consciously and take an active participation in the co-creation of our of our life and really, jump in with both feet and know that we are creative. And creative is so many different things in so many different ways. It's funny, they say when you write a talk, there's different sermons that you give. There's the talk you write, there's the talk you give, and then there's the talk that the congregation hears. And when I was driving up here, I was also thinking of, oh, this is such a great topic. I can add that, I can add that, I can add that. And so then there's the talk that the hour and a half drive that you can change creates in your mind. So, let me see, what else do I have here? So we really need to embrace our creativity. And so when we go to that fear place, what's another reason we're feared? Well, change. I've worked at this place for 23 years. I've done the same job for 34 years, technically 40 if we add from when I was a junior assistant. I've been teaching tennis, and I'm so solid in it. I know exactly what I'm doing. And I love where I work, but they want to shut it down. So I need to embrace change. And that tends to be a sticking point for people because I don't want to change. I like this. I'm comfortable. Do any of you know about Richard Rohr? Has anyone heard of Richard Rohr? Richard Rohr is an amazing Franciscan, he's a Jesuit. I listen to different topics. He's either a Jesuit or a Franciscan priest. And what's that? Do you know him, Frank? Yeah. He talks about order, disorder, reorder. So right now, I'm comfortable at my job. I love where I work. It's close enough to my house. I love my coworkers. I love my clients. It's orderly. It's comfortable. I'm comfortable there. But sometimes we have to go to that disorder, that uncomfortable place, that dissonance. It doesn't feel so good. I'm not very happy. And sometimes we have to go to that place to get to that reorder, to get to the higher place, to get to that place where now we're really in our true nature, our true path. Who knows, maybe I'll have a beautiful church like this one day that the tennis place had to close because I was so stuck at this tennis, not looking for bigger options, just teaching tennis. So sometimes like a relationship breaks up. I'm sure all of us have had a relationship where you thought, this is the person for me, and then something happens and now you find you're with a much better person. Has that ever happened? I don't recommend online dating. Oh wait, I do recommend online dating. My friend doesn't recommend online dating. So sometimes we have to identify our limiting beliefs, our fears, and let go of all our fears. What is fear an acronym of? Face everything and rise, forget everything and run. Oh, sorry. There's also another word that we can put in there, and I won't do that one. So success is really doing what our heart soul is telling us, in spite of what the universe what our humanness is telling us. There's this really great story. It was in the notes for the sermon, from home office, and it's a fable about an eagle and a chicken. Have any of you heard this fable? The fable is told about an eagle that fell out of his nest, and a farmer found this eagle on the ground and took him home to be with his chicken ranch. And the eagle grew up around these chickens and was acting like a chicken and playing with the chickens. And then this naturalist came and saw he heard about this eagle at a chicken ranch that was behaving like a chicken. And he goes to the farmer, he's like, this is an eagle, it's not meant to be a chicken. And the farmer's like, no, he's a chicken. He's no longer an eagle, he's a chicken. So the naturalist takes the bird and says, hey, picks him up, he's like, you're an eagle, fly, fly. And the eagle looks down and sees his friends and hops back down and says, no, I'm a chicken. So then the naturalist comes back the next day and takes the chicken on top of the farm and says, no, you're an eagle, fly, fly. And the eagle looks down and sees the chicken and says, nah, I'm a chicken. So then the naturalist came back the third day, took the eagle, and he said to the farmer, look, I want to try something. And he takes him far away to a mountain where there were no chickens around. And And he let him go, and the eagle looked into the sun and spread his wings and flew away. So the question is, are we hanging around with chickens thinking we're a chicken and not living our heart's desire, our heart's content? So I'm going to ask you to close your eyes again if you want, or just slightly glaze. Now look at your life again. You're an eagle. Are there any places in your life where you're acting like a chicken and you know you can be an eagle? Is there any place in your life where you can drop some limiting beliefs, some barriers, some boundaries? Is there any place in your life where you know that you can soar? William James, one of the fathers of psychology, says, your hopes, dreams, inspirations are legitimate. They are trying to take you airborne above the clouds, above the storm, if you will only let them. So spread your wings and fly like this eagle. Make sure our thoughts aren't limiting us. Make sure we're using our thoughts, using the law of creativity. Make sure we're using our thoughts for the positive. Rising above our chicken tendencies, just picking up the ground. Because really, everything is us, everything is ours. All limitations are self-imposed. Whatever is stopping us is our humanness. Are we afraid of being too comfortable, letting go of that comfort and stepping into that discomfort? Or when we do, we're going to reorder it. We're going to have a new comfortable, a new normal. We're able to really step up and rise. Or maybe, like God said, the Andromeda Galaxy, it's too good. I'm just going to go sit and watch Netflix all day. So we are more than we are. And I was going to use the quote, have you ever seen Ernest Holmes? He's leaning against the table and he's like, there's a power in the universe. Because he used to talk really slowly. There's a power in the universe that you can use. Right? There is this power, there is this amazing energy that we can use to fly, to soar like an eagle. So for all of you, I just really wish for you and know for you, I don't wish for you because I know for you that you're all stepping into your magnificence, you're all stepping into your eagle, spreading your wings and flying. Because Ernest says, life is not just something to be endured, it's to be lived in joy, fullness without limit. You are more than you appear to be. Life is greater than you have ever known it. The best is yet to come.